on the date on the screen, it says Wednesday, December the 8th. We have not set you back in time. That was a typo error when Lacey sent this out. She thought it was last week. She tried to push me a whole week ahead, or she was trying to give me a whole week to prepare myself. So either way, you know, it is not December the 8th, it's December the 15th. We're only 10 days away from Christmas. So welcome everyone. We just want to get started. And like I said, welcome to you. And I am Jonathan Hamlet, the supervisor for the PACT Evening Reporting Center. This program has been in existence through the Mayor's Office of Employment Development for roughly almost 15 years. It's been like about 14 years and 4 months that we started this program as a pilot program back in 2007. So with that, we're just going to jump right in there and we can move to the first slide. PACT Pre-Adjudication Coordination Training Center, like I said, it is operated at the Westside Yo Center. So we are part of the Westside Yo program. Basically, we model right behind that program. The same things that they do during the day program, we implemented those things for young people through the Evening Reporting Center. Operated, of course, out of Westside Yo Center at 1510 West Lafayette Avenue. Next screen. Some of the goals and objectives of this program, and maybe I need to just give a little bit of background. The program was implemented back in 2007, basically as a measure to reduce the number of young, primarily African-American young men in secure detention. At that time, as I stated, it was a pilot program, something that we were starting, basically brought to the city by Mr. Ernest Dorsey, who sat on a number of boards, and they were looking for the Department of Juvenile Services and other entities in the city were looking for a program that was not operated solely by DJS to engage young people in some positive activities to keep them out of secure detention, to try to reduce the number of young people in secure detention. Mr. Dorsey let them know that he had a building that was available in the evening, and thereby this program was formulated. And so with that, we some of the goals and objectives that were developed for that program was to ensure that young participants attend their scheduled court hearings, engage youth who have been arrested and who might otherwise be in secure detention awaiting trial, an alternative to being detained. So they wanted that alternative to be like an evening reporting center, someplace where they could come and be positively engaged in activities. And what we did, like I said, we used the same youth development model that's being used by the Yo Center as a loving, caring adult population to engage young people. And what we did is we created a structured environment where youth are engaged and have the opportunity to model pro-social behaviors, prevent youth from being rearrested while they are awaiting trial, assist youth with identifying needed resources and access to services, including education, employment, and housing. Collaborate with youth and their families, DGS, and other partners to address underlying issues that lead to antisocial or deviant behavior. Utilize a positive youth development approach, focusing on the strengths of participants. And that's where the youth opportunity model came in. That approach that had been used at that time for roughly almost 15 years to formulate relationships with young people and positively get them moving in the right direction. We use the same model for the PACT program as well. Next slide. The program design, basically we were enlisted to support youth who would otherwise be in detention with the Department of Juvenile Services are engaged in youth development activities, assessment, and creative learning projects from 3 to 8:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Staff members collaborate with youth and their families to develop individualized plans to help participants get on track for success. When young people come to our program,
Michael.
when young people come to our program,
Yes.
Hi. Sounds like someone needs to mute. Can everyone else mute except for Jonathan?
So when young
And
people,
we're all in a meeting. Uh-huh.
when
Mhm.
when young people come to our program, basically we engage them in a number of different activities. And what we do is we try to learn that young person, and try to find out some of the needs and some of the barriers that are hindering them from being successful. And we try to address those issues to try to encourage young people to stay on the right track, giving them the information that's needed. And with that information that we gather, what we gather from that young person while they're there, we actually formulate what's called a court, individual service, an individual service plan. I'm sorry. And we send that to the court. Primarily, it's a progress report just to show the progress of that young person while they've been there. And then we give them any suggestions that we may have that we think might help that young
You have to
person
start back all
be
the
more
contact
successful when,
tracing. The
in
person,
their
please.
future. We try to make sure that the court knows that, like, some young people, a lot of young people come and they need mentorship. There's some young people that may come and they may just really display that they really have maybe some mental health challenges or something like that. Now, we don't make that diagnosis or anything, but we will make a suggestion that that young person might need screening for those different services based on their behavior. Um, we also might say that a young person might need to be connected with just, like different services that might help them if they're having educational struggles, that they might want to look at a referral to a tutoring source or something of that nature. But our plan basically always lists some type of recommendation that might be beneficial for that young person as they move forward to be successful in their future. Next slide. The young people that we service, and you'll see the number says young men 12 to 17 who are residents of Baltimore City, um, and youth who would otherwise be in secure detention, youth and parents who agree to electronic monitoring requirements. Now, this age range is something that's changed. When we started, I think we had it at 14 to 17. Over the years, we've been pretty successful at really engaging young people, and I think developed a real a real strong trust with the courts, and they started referring young people to us. Sometimes we've even had young people that were referred at 10 years of age. Now, because we were there and we had the availability, there have been times that we have taken young people simply because it was felt that the court needed a safe place for them, and they felt that our program was a safe place. So we did successfully engage those young people when those issues came up, which led us to actually drop in our age range of young people that we would service. So that's why you see it on there from 12 to 17. We actually have a 12-year-old that's there right now that we engage in. It's basically just to accommodate the courts. And also because there are not a lot of where we used to have 17, 18-year-olds. Now there's a lot of 12, 13, and 14, 15-year-old young people that we notice that our population is engaging. So these young people, some of them would otherwise be in secure detention. We also take young people that might come through being sanctioned by their probation officers as a measure of getting them back on track. We also engage young people that kind of like as a diversion program that might be referred to us, that the courts are actually, Department of Juvenile Services actually trying to hopefully work with that young person in the community and circumvent the state's attorney from pressing charges when it's like a low-level charge or something that a young person might have their record tarnished. So we've been utilized in a number of different ways. So we're not just dealing with young people that only have the electronic monitoring devices on. We started the program as a high-level security program, but now we actually engage young people that have different security levels when they participate in our program, and we've been able to engage those young people successfully, like right along with each other. So That's been a good thing. Next slide. Operations. Um, it says eligibility. Operations. Youth are transported by van to and from the program. Program operates Monday through Friday, has been stated, from 3 to 8 p.m. Average length of stay in the program is 30 days. Maximum participants at one time is 15. Annual slots available, 120. All youth that do come to our program, we offer them and we try to register them for YouthWorks and let them know that that's something that we will engage, help all of them basically get all the documentation together and sign up for YouthWorks. And of course, throughout the year, we always take young people through life skill training as well as job readiness training while they're there, so that they will be prepared. If they get all of their documentation together, then we know we will be able to have them be able to obtain a summer youth works job. Amen. Second, next slide. The activities that we provide at the center: computer and life skill training, job readiness training, and career exploration. Urban arts uses various art forms to build communication and problem solving skills. A fitness program and with qualified instructor, fully equipped recording studio, family style dinner every evening, and guest speakers and field trips. Next slide. Measurable outcomes. 85% of participants will not be rearrested while awaiting trial. 85% of youth will show up to their scheduled court hearing. 100% of youth will have developed an individual service plan. And PACT has met or exceeded these measures consistently throughout all the years that we've been in existence. We've always exceeded these measures. Next slide. Success. Cited as a model program by the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Program, recipient of Disproportionate Minority Contact Best Practice Award, recognized by MacArthur Model for Change program by MacArthur Foundation. Okay. And I think that is it. That is the PACT program. Are there any questions or?
Brother Jonathan?
Yes.
Yeah, two questions. I saw that on the eligibility, it showed young men from 12 to 17-year-olds. Do you ever have any young ladies, given their increase in violent behavior?
Well, actually, we were the very first program, probably. I don't want to say country, but I know, and definitely in the state of Maryland, and maybe in the country, that ever did a female even reporting center. So we did that for, I think, about 4 years. And the only reason why we stopped was the number of referrals were so low that at the end, it was just decided that it was not worth us really trying to maintain everything, and we weren't getting the referrals that we needed.
Certainly. Another question, the average stay is 30 days. What would be the maximum stay that anyone?
Post-COVID, it would be like 45 days.
Thanks.
I mean, no, pre-COVID, it would be 45 days. Since COVID now, I've had some kids in our program for like 4 or 5 months. It's, and over the pandemic, I think we kept kids like 6 months. A lot of times, I think the courts, when when it's a good program, they consistently try to send kids back because it's like working for the kid, and they constantly send them back. So, so now the stay may be anything, anywhere from 30 days to, longer. And as a matter of fact, I think most of the stays are definitely longer than 30 days, because most kids, if their cases are not resolved, they've been staying for at least 60 days.
Certainly. Last question, I promise. Look, would it be appropriate if, let's say, one of us or me wanted to join one of the family dinners?
Well, we had those every day. We try to
Right.
sit down in that style, and it used to be a lot easier when we had different programming. So we still feed the young people, but we have to do it through a measure of when we do it through vendors. Um, of course,
Mhm.
we had to find a way to have staff actually bring their own meals and different things of that nature.
I got you. Okay.
But yeah, those things are, we do allow or have guest speakers to come in and, come and speak with the youth. So even a guest speaker coming in and having a meal at that time when they did something like that, that would be great. You just
Okay.
gave me a good idea. I mean, that was, because a lot of times it's trying to find ways of creatively getting people to come and hold a population that's hard to maintain their attention,
Yep.
to get
Yep.
them to engage them in conversation. And, just like when we go out for meals in the community, that's the easiest time that we can engage because it's something about sitting around and eating that make people don't mind talking,
Right.
make them act a little bit more amicable, so no,
Yeah.
you just gave me a great idea, man. So no, I appreciate that, but no, that would be possible.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
You're more than welcome.
Hey, Jonathan, this is David Hagan. I got a question. Seems like your program ties into one of the mayor's pillars, to develop a holistic approach to solving the crime problem in the city. And I'm just wondering, has anybody reached out to you to, connect and to develop to work with you as far as, developing your program or helping you with your program from the city?
No, not me personally, but one of those things, those same efforts are something that we've been trying to actually for years to develop something like an after pack program where when young people get finished with us, because we train them with job readiness, to have some type of internship that we could step them into, and then during the process of them doing that internship, connect them with employment. Because just during this pandemic, we had a young man that really was real inspiring that was working with us. And one night the van picked him up and they were taking him home, but they stopped him by McDonald's because we had, at that time we were taking the kids to McDonald's to eat. The young man got out the van to go into McDonald's, and he asked the guy if they were hiring. 2 days later, the young man had a job. So he worked a large portion of his time at PAC. When he had his work schedule, when he was working, then we just, we documented and realized he was working. His dad would pick him up from work. And and that young man, he got a job. So it made us know that things like that would actually work. And that idea it's been something that we've been thinking about and even tried, and we've had measures in place to try to do something like that. So we've been working along with that. But to answer your question, no one is actually, not me, and like I said, I'm kind of like, I'm the foot soldier in the building. So somebody may have reached out to somebody else at a different level, but not specifically to me.
Yeah, too
Well,
bad.
just to add what David just said, and Jonathan is being very modest, but I just want everybody to know that Jonathan's work has influenced the statewide system in terms of how they deal with young people in community detention programs or even reporting centers. Before the PACT program, the state was housing young people in a very different way all across the state. And based on what Jonathan has implemented at PACT, they have modeled many of their even reporting centers after PACT. And so I just wanted to give kudos to Jonathan because, in fact, he has influenced the statewide, not just Baltimore City, statewide in terms of how they are dealing with young people in even reporting centers. I remember one of the state visits where they had a conference or something, and they actually brought visitors to the center. And when they bring visitors to centers, we let program participants talk about their engagement. And I will never forget what a young person said. A young person said that they enjoy being in PACT because they could just be a kid. And that hit me because it was like, you know what? Many of these young people are out on the corners trying to be this big dog and have not had an experience as of a kid. And the PACT program has allowed young people to be themselves and just experience being. So I just want to give kudos to Jonathan in terms of his consistency and his commitment to serve that population.
I appreciate that, Ernest. It's a reflection for me of just what we've always learned in the YO program. You know, that was just a model, because that's the system that I came from, the day program. And it was just a part of, like, just being a part of a team and doing what you needed to do and following that instruction, that if you signed on with a young person, that you would be there. And, you know, that was one of the things that we always used to say, look, if you if you want to get out, once you tell us that you want us to help you, you're going to have to write a letter and tell my supervisor that you no longer want to be a part of our program. You no longer want me in your life, because other than that, because you said that you wanted that GED or you wanted that job, we're going to just work for you. So that's just a model. And, you know, so I appreciate that, Ernest, but it's just trying to just doing what, you know, I learned how to do in the system. Appreciate that, though. Any more questions? Amen. Sounds great. Okay, well, Ms. Chantrice, there are no more questions.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, everyone. Please fill out the survey that's in the chat if you haven't already done so. And everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Right.
Have a great
Have a
day.
good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Hey there, Corey. How you doing?
Hey, I'm calling it back on y'all, man. Make sure Michelle told me that crazy story last night, and she was talking to y'all in the bathroom this